it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. For today's video, I have the first paycheck budget for November. We're going to sit down today and figure out where I'm going to allocate all of our funds. We're going to stuff some cash envelopes. I'm going to talk you through my budgeting process. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's get started. Okay, so first budget of November. I am so excited about this. I have in front of me my paycheck budget worksheet from my Etsy shop. This is available in this design, which is the design I've chosen to use for November, but it's also available in lots of other fun designs. So if you are interested in getting yourself a paycheck budget worksheet, you can check out my Etsy shop down below. You can just print them out in the comfort of your own home, use them over and over again, and it's just a $2 printable. So make sure you check that out. Also, if you check my description box, there'll be a little coupon code you can use to get it a little tiny bit cheaper. Okay, so the paycheck date is going to be November 2nd. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in here. I'm so excited to be budgeting for November. November is one of my favorite months. October was a really good budget month for us, so I'm really excited to just keep rolling on into November. We're going to do things a little bit differently this week in that I'm actually going to fill out this income box. However, I need you to know that the number that I write in for the total income isn't really reflective of my husband's paycheck. We talked at length about whether he was comfortable sharing his income. I've told you guys before, he's not comfortable with that. But what he did say was I could let you guys know how much we are working with each week. So what I do to figure that out is I take all of our income and scoop it all up into one bucket, right? My husband's paycheck for the week, any rollover we had for the previous week, any money that we pull in outside of my husband's income. So if I have a YouTube paycheck, or if we sell a chair at a garage sale or whatever, we also have any credit card rewards, any bonuses, anything like that. Do you just scoop it all up into a pile of money, essentially? Use that as your visual. Also, any sinking fund money that we plan to use, that sort of thing. Then, off the top of that, I take some money and I set it aside for sinking funds, because you guys know we are doing sinking funds differently in November. And I take care of a few other little personal things. And then, whatever's left, that's the amount of money I'm going to budget out for the week. So when you see me write in this total, don't think, oh, that's how much her husband makes, because it's not. It's a combination of things. So the amount that we are going to work with this week is $1,200. And I've decided to disclose that with you guys just because I get comments all the time saying that it would be more helpful to see how much we're working with so you can really see the whole process. I think it's mostly just people are curious. How much money am I working with? How does your budget stack up against mine? Just for comparison's sake, I think people are curious, and I understand that. But just know that this is not, my husband didn't get a $1,200 paycheck this week. This is a combination of things, plus I've taken some right off the top. So with all of that out of the way, let's start talking about my budget process. Because more important than how much money we earn or how much money we're working with is the process. So I break it down into a few steps here. I start out right here in this checking section, and I use this checking section for anything that's going to be left in my bank account to be used for expenses for the week. So I do a lot of my budgeting in cash, you will see, but you can't do everything in cash. And I apologize if you have been with my channel for a while and you've heard this spiel before, but I'm constantly getting new subscribers. By the way, if you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining my channel. So, under this checking section, I'm going to put all of my bills for the week. And in order to figure out what my bills are, I'm going to flip here to my calendar, which is what I use to keep track of paydays and bills and expenses and whatnot. So you can see I have a few bills here. The first one being Canva, which is technically a business expense. I use Canva to make my thumbnails here, any graphics that I need for my channel or my Instagram page or that sort of thing. But I keep forgetting about it. And so I put it in my calendar to remind me that's a business expense. It's going to get pulled out of my account this week. And I actually need to go into my business binder here to pull out the cash to cover it. So I will do that. I'm just going to go ahead and, in fact, I've already done that. Part of this $1,200 total here includes the money from my business that I pulled in to help me pay everything, if that makes sense. So Canva membership is due this week. Also, my Boost mobile bill is due, and my camper payment. So those are the things that I'm going to take care of using my checking account. Those are either automatic payments that go to a credit card, and then I will use that money from my debit, or from my bank account rather, to pay that credit card, or those are payments that come directly out of my checking account. Hence the reason why I named this section checking. So we're going to go ahead and write those in. So we have Canva. I said Boost. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, my camper payment. So I am going to write those totals in, but there's also one more category that I need to make sure I cover from my checking account this week. So I mentioned earlier in this video, and I've mentioned in quite a few of my previous videos, that I'm going to be doing sinking funds a little bit differently starting this month. Rather than take a certain amount of money each week and set it aside for sinking funds, I'm going to hold on to that cash I would have put into my sinking funds each week and let it kind of build up, and then at the end of the month I'm going to fill my sinking funds just one time. I think it'll be easier to allocate things that way. But the only issue with that is sometimes in a week something comes up that I know I'm going to need to pull money out for sinking funds, but I don't quite have enough, right? So if I'm going to access my school sinking fund and I need $100 out of there, but I only have $80, what I would do is I would include an additional $20 to my sinking funds that week when I filled my sinking funds so that it would all even out. But because I'm not filling sinking funds this week, something I need to be kind of cognizant of is if I'm going to need to take money out of a sinking fund, if I don't have enough in that sinking fund to cover it, I need to include it here in my checking section. And that's what I'm going to do today, because I need to access some money from my school sinking fund and I don't quite have enough in there to cover that thing. So I need to put the difference here under checking. Did I overcomplicate that too much, or did you guys follow me? So from my school sinking fund, I need to pull out money because my youngest son was just added to the roster of an indoor soccer team. I didn't think he was going to get to play, but they had an opening in the team. He's going to be playing varsity soccer next year when he gets to high school, and the varsity team all got together and formed an indoor league, and they had space for some of the incoming students, so like the 8th graders that want to play next year. They had room on the team to include them, so he's going to be playing, but I didn't think he was going to be playing, so I didn't think to allocate money for that when I filled my sinking funds at the end of October. So I need to have money, obviously, to pay for him to join that team, and it's going to cost about $100, and the amount that I had set aside in my school sinking fund, my sinking funds are right here, I'll just show you, was $47. So if I need $100, obviously I don't have enough in there. So I need to make a line item in my budget to be able to cover the difference. So that is going to go here. I'm just going to write in soccer. All right, now that we have all of our kind of categories for this section, we'll go back and we'll fill in the amounts. So for Canva, my membership, I believe, costs $12.99. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and budget for. My Boost mobile bill, that is our phone bill. It is 4 lines of unlimited talk, text, and data. I love Boost Mobile. I highly recommend it. If you aren't locked into a contract with your mobile home provider, Boost is one of these pay-as-you-go services, and it's phenomenal. We get great coverage. It's really affordable, and I can't recommend it enough. For Boost, we're going to budget $120. It was $130, but lately every time I go in to pay my Boost bill, I have a $10 credit. So I don't know if my husband signed us up for a promotion or what. I keep forgetting to ask him. So it's been $10 less these last few months, and I actually went in and checked my balance this morning, and it was $120 again this month. So that's what we're going to budget for. For my camper, my husband and I own a camper. We are making payments on it, and it costs us $200 a month, so that's what we're going to budget. And then for soccer, like I said, we have like $48 or something in there. I'm just going to go ahead and budget $60 so that I can make sure that everything is covered for his indoor soccer league. If we need anything else, will be covered. So that is it for my checking section. That's all of the line items in my budget that I'm going to cover using my checking account. So let's go ahead and add this up now. So we had $12.99. Typically I would just budget $13. I don't know why I did not do that, but I didn't, so there you go. Actually, this is an erasable pen, so I'm going to erase this and just budget $13. I don't like dealing with change. In case you haven't figured that out by watching my channel. So we're just going to budget $13. That makes the math easier. So $13 plus $120 plus $200 plus $60 is a total of $393. So that's how much I'm going to leave in the bank to cover all of these things. Plus I do have a buffer in my account for anything else that pops up. So that takes care of that. Now we have cash envelopes. So for cash envelopes, this is anything that I'm going to need cash for, and this is money that I intend to spend throughout the week. For sinking funds, if I were doing sinking funds today, which I'm not, that's also in cash, but that's like longer term savings. We're not even going to worry about sinking funds. We're just going to kind of skip that section when we get to it. But cash envelopes, this is, you know, groceries for the week. It's gas. It's our spending money. This is money that I intend to be spent throughout the week. And I like doing it in cash just because it's easier to kind of keep track of that way. Obviously, if I go to a grocery store and I spend $50, I can see the cash go away. And it just works better in my brain. I know not everybody loves cash, but I really enjoy using cash. And even when I don't actually use the cash, if I were to like swipe my credit card for something, I then will take the cash that I have set aside and move it to a different envelope to be deposited into the bank. And even just that action, seeing that cash go away, it triggers something in my brain that makes me want to spend less. So if you're not already using cash, I highly recommend it. I know it's difficult in this day and age to use cash for things. You know, it's handling money with germs and it's coin shortages and things. But even if you just do it, like I mentioned, where you kind of keep the cash for yourself and move it from the have pile to the spent pile or whatever. I'm telling you, it does something to your brain, or at least it does something to my brain, and makes me want to spend less. More so than just like seeing the digital numbers in your checking account or whatever go down. So that was rambly. I apologize. I'm feeling very chatty this morning, apparently. My cash envelope categories are food. That's our groceries, any eating out that we do. This category also covers any like household items that we would pick up while we are grocery shopping, that sort of thing. Pet food is involved in here as well. And the amount that I'm going to budget this week is $200. When I wrote out my November goals, I will link that video in a card above in case you missed it. I talked about how I want to spend less on food this month. I really want to keep it at $1,000 or less. And since there are 5 paychecks in November for my husband, and therefore 5 paycheck budgets, I'm going to try to keep the budget at $200 each week in November. Fingers crossed that that works out. So that's food. Next, I have my husband's spending money. My husband and I like to take spending money in cash. It just helps us to stay on track better with the budget. I don't have to chase my husband around and find out, what he spent that day so that I can write it down in the budget. I can just give him the cash at the start of the week and he can spend it throughout the week as he pleases. And we've decided that $40 a week is what he wants/needs to get him through the week. Likewise, I also get $40 for the same reason. The next cash category that we have is my son, Austin. So I actually have 2 sons. Austin is 13, he'll be 14 in January, and Robert is 18. Robert is an adult living here at home. He works full-time, he makes his own money, so I don't have to include him in this cash envelope section, but Austin, being that he's only 13, he can't work yet, so the only way he's earning money is if he's earning money from mama. So we do give him an allowance every week. It's just a small amount of money. He has a few chores that he does around the house, and he gets $10 a week. In the summer, it's a little bit higher because he has more free time and therefore more chores. During the school year, he's got a full-time job just going to school, making good grades, and all his after-school activities. So $10 a week for Austin. For gas this week, we are going to budget $40. That's what I'm going to try to aim for. Looking back at October, we didn't use as much gas as I had budgeted for, and we ended up with quite a bit left. So I'm lowering the budget a little bit and sticking with $40 a week rather than $50 a week. I can always go in and change that if it's not enough, if I'm finding that I'm short, but for now we're going to go with 40. And then the last cash category is miscellaneous, and this is just a miscellaneous 20 I like to keep in my wallet for anything else that kind of comes up throughout the week that I need cash for. If we are, at the soccer fields and my son wants a drink from the concession stand, I can use that miscellaneous cash for that. Or, if we have to pay a toll or something, that can come out of that. It seems like there's always something that comes up that I need cash for, and that miscellaneous category covers that. So that is everything for the cash envelope. So we're going to go ahead and add this up. 200 plus 40 plus 40 plus 10 plus 40 plus 20 is $350 in cash this week. Alright, next up would typically be sinking funds, but we are just going to skip this week. You guys will see my sinking fund cash stuffing and overview at the end of November. Because my husband's paychecks fluctuate and the amount of money we're working with each week fluctuates, I can't just set aside a specific amount each week. I would love to be able to take $500 every week and set that aside for sinking funds, but that's just not the way that our budget works. So each week I will have to look at how much we have to work with overall and decide how much to set aside for that. I've already set aside some money here for the sinking funds, but I'm not going to tell you how much. You'll have to wait until the end of the month to see how much we allocate towards sinking funds. And that also helped me to be able to disclose this number here by doing it that way. So we're going to skip out on sinking funds, but you will see a sinking funds video at the end of November. So be on the lookout for that. All right, next up we have extra debt. I talked a little bit in my debt update video about how I wanted to pay off a credit card by the end of the year. It had about $1,500 on it. And in order to do that, I got to make some big payments. So someone in that video mentioned, hey, it's only $164 each paycheck to be able to get that card paid off by the end of the year. And that was really refreshing for me to hear because it made it seem less daunting. Like saying $1,500 by the end of the year seems like a lot, but $164 or $165 or whatever it was each week seems more doable. So I decided to kind of break it up a little bit, break up my goals. And again, when I filmed that goals video, I mentioned I want to pay $850 in November to this card. But in order to do that, I need to pay $170 each week. I think that's what I figured out. Let me double check here. So $850 divided by my husband's 5 paychecks. Yeah, $170. So the card we're currently working on is a Chase card. And if I didn't already mention in this video, the way that we tackle our extra debt payments is we pay the minimum payments to all of our credit cards. That would be here in this checking section. I don't happen to have a minimum payment due this week, so there isn't one listed here this week, but you'll see throughout the month as those minimum payments come due, that will be included here in this checking section. But then we send all the extra payments here under this extra debt category to that one card we're currently working on, which is Chase. And I'm going to send $170 to Chase this week in extra payments to help me try to meet that goal of $850 by the end of November. And that will be my total as well, $170. So now, because we have an income total here to work with, which we've already discussed is not my actual income total, but you know what I mean. The amount we're working with this week is $1,200, so I can fill that in. For checking, we said $393. Cash envelopes, $350. 0 to sinking funds, even though we did set aside money for sinking funds. I'm just not including this here for the sake of, not giving you an exact amount of money we're working with, if you know what I mean. And then extra debt is $170. So the way that this totals box works here then is you take the income amount, subtract out the checking amount, which was $393, subtract out the cash envelopes, which is $350, subtract out the extra debt, which is $170. That will give me a remaining balance of $287. And then I can take that remaining balance and I can allocate it here into savings. There's 2 lines here for savings, so if you have multiple savings goals, you can write those out and decide how much to allocate to each. For me, I just have one savings goal, and it's just a rollover amount. So because I do a zero-based budget, I want to give every single dollar in my budget a job to do. That rollover amount is going to be that remaining $287, and that's going to leave me with nothing left to allocate for the week. So this $287 will just get rolled over into next week's budget. So that's the plan. That's all of the money allocated for the week. I'm pretty excited about that. That seems like it has the potential to be a really good week. If by the end of the week I come back and say it costs me more than this $60 to pay for soccer, then the amount that I have to roll over will be less. And if I spent less than you know, $200 or whatever, if any of my categories come in under budget, then I will have more to roll over into the next week. So making the plan for the budget is the easy part, right? I mean, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's methodical. You can sit down, you can give every dollar a job to do, but if you don't stick to that budget, then these numbers don't work out in the end. So I'm going to try really hard to stick to all of these numbers throughout the week, do really well so that this rollover amount can remain at this $287 or even more, and that will go towards next week and make next week that much easier. So that's that. Now I need to go to the bank, pull out the cash for my cash envelopes, and get my envelopes stuffed. So I have actually already done the cash breakdown. This is the way the cash breakdown works. This is another printable available in my Etsy shop. There's a space to write in the category and the amount that you need. So I just wrote in all my cash categories: food, my husband, myself, Austin, miscellaneous, and gas, as well as their amounts. Then I just went down the columns here and decided what denominations I wanted. So for food, I decided to take 10 20s. For my husband, I took 2 20s. For myself, I took 2 20s. For Austin, I took a 10. For miscellaneous, I did 2 5s and 10 1s. And then for gas, I did 2 20s for a total of that 40. Then I wrote the bill count down here. Everything kind of matched up. The two totals matched up, so I knew that it was accurate. I went to the bank. I grabbed that cash, and now we can stuff my cash envelopes. Usually I do this cash breakdown kind of on camera in real time, but for the sake of ease this week, I just went ahead and did it ahead of time so that I could go and get the cash and we could roll right into stuffing the cash envelopes. So we needed $350. I'm going to just count this up and make sure that that is what I have. The only thing is I already gave my husband his spending money. He could not wait for me to film this video. He wanted it right then and there. So I gave him his 40. So rather than 350, we should have 310 here. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 95, 300, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is that 310. I'm just going to go ahead and count up all my denominations, make sure they're accurate, get the cash all kind of laid out pretty here, and I'll be right back and we'll stuff those envelopes. Okay, so I went ahead and flipped back to my paycheck budget so that I can write in the actual totals as I put the cash into my cash envelopes. That's the way I've been doing it. Obviously, the amount that I budget for my cash envelopes is going to be the actual amount I put into my cash envelopes. And then at the end of the week, what I will do is I will do my weekly check-in, which is another budget printable that I have that kind of keeps track of how much I've spent. So hopefully that makes sense. You guys will see that if you watch my budget results video, which should be coming Monday or Tuesday of next week. So be on the lookout for that. But for now, we're going to go ahead and stuff my cash envelopes. So I have my Conscious wallet here. This is where I keep my cash envelopes. And some of these envelopes are empty. Others are starting out with money that I had left over from last month. Or last week, which was also last month, I guess, technically. I like to roll money over week to week so that, you know, obviously if I don't spend $200 on food, if I only spend $150, then I'll have $50 to start the next week. Make sense? I hope so. So we're going to start out with food. My food budget, or my food envelope rather, is starting out empty. I spent all of my food money last month. And the amount we're going to add to my food envelope is $200. So that's how much I pulled out of my budget to put into my food envelope. So that takes care of that. And on my little cash breakdown sheet here, I allocated 10 20s. I've just got that off to the side to help me stay on track. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200. So $200 into my food envelope. Hopefully that will more than cover everything that we need. Alright, next up I have my envelope, which is also empty. When I did my budget results video, you guys saw that I had cash left over, and I asked you what I should do with it. The overwhelming number of you said, keep it, roll it over. And so I actually did that, but then I spent it before I filmed this video. So I did keep that money. I did spend it on myself. It's just gone from my envelope because I already spent it. So we're going to add $40. Well, I can go ahead and write in that I added my husband's 40. I already gave that to him. For myself, I'm going to add that $40 in here. And that's going to be two 20s. So 1, 2, 20, 40 into my envelope. Next up is gasoline. My gasoline envelope has $40 in it left over from last week. As I mentioned, I budgeted more than I needed in October, so we did have some to roll over into November, so it already has $40 in there. We're going to add 40 more. So we'll start with a total of $80 when I fill in my weekly check-in, but the amount that I added this week was 40. So go ahead and write that in. We skipped right over my son Austin, who's going to get a $10 bill for his allowance. So I'm just going to set this 10 off to the side for him so that he has that to spend on whatever it is he spends his money on these days. And lastly then we have my miscellaneous envelope. My miscellaneous envelope is starting out with $20. I had $20 remaining in there last week. So that's going to stay in there, and we're going to add 20 more, and that should be everything that's left here. So 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I did go ahead and do some smaller bills because inevitably whenever I'm reaching into my miscellaneous envelope, it's just because I need $1 or $2, so I decided to make it easier on myself and just get some smaller denominations. So that's it for my cash envelopes. All of the cash that I will need for the week is here. We're all set up there. Go ahead and write in that I did indeed add $20 to my miscellaneous envelope for a total of $350. So that's one less actual column I will have to fill in when we do my weekly check-in and budget results next week. And that's actually it for this video. It was a little bit shorter, I think, than usual because we didn't stuff any sinking funds. But that's okay. I think this is going to work out really well for me doing it this way. And the thing is if it doesn't work out for me, I can always change it back next month, right? I don't have to stick with something that's not working for me. That's the great thing about personal finance. It's personal. What works for me might not work for you and vice versa. But I figure if I don't try, I'll never know. So that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you check out my Etsy shop if you are interested in my printables. You can get the paycheck budget worksheet for yourself. I also have plenty of other budget printables available. I will have it linked down below with that coupon code. If you have not yet done so, please subscribe to my channel. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content every week here on my channel. I try to get 5 videos a week posted for you. So there's lots and lots of content for you to check out here on my channel. I'll be doing Vlogmas in December, which I'm excited about. So lots and lots of great content coming at you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!